Rome. The year is 897 AD, a cold, candle-lit hall. The air is heavy with the smell of wax and fear. Priests and nobles sit in silence, their eyes fixed on a single wooden chair placed in the center of the room. And on that chair sits a corpse. Yes, you heard me right. A corpse. This is not the start of some dark fantasy movie. This actually happened. The man on the chair was Pope Formosus, or rather, what was left of him. He had been dead for nearly 9 months. His body had been dug out of its grave, dressed again in papal robes, and brought into the courtroom for one of the strangest trials in all of history, the Cadaver Synod. So why did this happen? The Catholic Church at that time was not just a religious institution, it was political power, and whoever sat on the papal throne controlled more than just prayers. Pope Formosus, during his life, had made some very powerful enemies, and his successor, Pope Stephen VI, was one of them. Stephen was so full of hatred that even death wasn't enough. He wanted revenge, real, public, humiliating revenge. So he did something that sounds like madness. He put a dead pope on trial. They even gave Formosus a lawyer, or at least a terrified deacon, who was ordered to speak on behalf of the corpse. Imagine that job, sitting there, trying to defend someone whose skull is already falling apart. The charges: perjury, breaking church law, becoming pope illegally. The courtroom was silent except for Pope Stephen's angry shouting. Witnesses testified against the dead man. The deacon mumbled a weak defense, and the corpse just sat there slumped, as though mocking the whole affair. At the end of the trial, Pope Stephen delivered the verdict: guilty. Then came the punishment. Formosus was stripped of his papal garments. The fingers he once used to give blessings were cut off. Finally, his body was dragged out and thrown into the Tiber River like trash. But justice, or karma, works in strange ways. The people of Rome were horrified. This trial was supposed to humiliate Formosus, but instead it humiliated the entire church. Soon riots broke out across the city. Pope Stephen himself was thrown in prison, and not long after, he was strangled to death. A few years later, Formosus's body was recovered from the river and given a proper burial. The church officially declared the Cadaver Synod illegal, as if trying to erase the shame of that day. But history never forgets. To this day, the Cadaver Synod remains one of the strangest and creepiest events in medieval history. A moment when politics, hatred, and religion collided in a way so bizarre, it feels like a nightmare. So next time you think politics today is crazy, remember this: there was once a time when a pope literally dragged his dead enemy out of the grave just to put him on trial.